for the ECDF Children's Day celebration with a webinar, which is very important, and along with the Young Voices. So I hope you stay till the end. And very, very happy Children's Day to all of you. Yeah, so we'll begin the webinar by me introducing Dr. Vasya Acharya. Of course, she needs no introduction. She is the chairperson for DN Foundation. She is the chairperson for ECTF, and she is the chairperson for Tender Petal Schools and Inner Me Foundation. And she's a philanthropist. She does a variety of work for early childhood, for women empowerment, and for the empowerment of the children who needs her the most. So here she is, handing over to Dr. Vasavi. You can please open the webinar.
Thank you, Smriti, and I welcome all the speakers today to this wonderful webinar, and the topic is very interesting. And I also welcome all the attendees who are watching us on Facebook, who has joined us on Zoom. And today being Children's Day, we have organized this program, and we are touching on two vital aspects. One is the little ones, the children, and the grown-ups, who will be the young voices in today's forum. And then we cherish the little one in each one of us. Though we may be mothers, we are, grown-ups, but we have the children in us. So we have come up with this wonderful program that we lined up, and I request everybody to stay back till the end to hear the young voices, what they come up with, because they'll be speaking from all over the globe on very interesting topics. And so here we go with the webinar. Over to you, Smith.
All right, so here we go. So first, I introduce myself. Hi, everyone. I'm Smriti Agarwal, and I've been an early childhood educator since past 26 years. And currently, I'm associated with the Ampersand Group, that is WebGear Group of Schools, as a content project lead. And I've been working on, of course, various aspects of ECE and upgrading them. I have a lineup of wonderful speakers with me. So I have Dr. Monica Devan with me. And Dr. Monica Devan is a freelance consultant, and she has been consulting schools right from early years till the BTech level. She has a lot of experience. She has 3 kids of her own, whom she has raised quite well, the youngest one being in the 6th grade now. And she has been associated with a lot of schools and educational institutions. Welcome, Dr. Monica Devan. Then I have Ms. Aanchal Vasundani with me. Ms. Aanchal has been an early childhood educator since past 20 years. She has a vast experience and knowledge of early childhood education, and she's been associated with very good branded schools in Mumbai, India. And currently, she is the vice president at the Ampersand Group, leading the team of the content developers who develop the content not only for the WebGear Group of Schools, but also other projects which are like government aided, and they can be for Anganwadis and Balwadis. So a variety of content, age appropriate and segment appropriate. That is what she's heading at the moment. Welcome, Ms. Aanchal Vasundani.
Thank you, Smriti.
The next we have is Geeta Punjabi. Ms. Geeta Punjabi has been a curriculum developer. She's the founder of Theo Kids. She's been a chess coach, an arbiter, NLP coach, life coach, brain gym trainer, and she has been a specialist in school setups and a school consultant. So a multifaceted, very talented, and a person with varied experiences and a variety of knowledge. Here we welcome Ms. Punjabi.
Thank you, Smriti, for giving such wonderful introductions. Thank you, Smriti and Dr. Vasavi, to give us such wonderful opportunity to be in the webinar. Thanks a lot.
Most welcome. You are most welcome. And like I just gave a personal information about Dr. Monica, that her youngest is in the 6th grader and her eldest has crossed over college. Ms. Aanchal Vasundani has a granddaughter who's 3 years old, and Ms. Geeta Punjabi has 2 grandchildren. So raised kids, they've educated kids, and now they're enjoying status of a grandparent. So here they are on the Children's Day special for ECTF with all of us. Right. The webinar that you're going to talk about is a very important thing that we must discuss, and that is preschool at a doorstep. Now, I know that it was a necessity. It was not something that we did because we wanted to do it, but pandemic stuck and all schools closed. And the developmental years of the children, that is like from, we would say, birth to 6 years. Even if you miss out on a few months, it makes a huge difference. It's a huge loss for a child. So what do preschools do? None of the preschoolers, the teachers or the parents or the school owners had ever thought about this, that these children, the age group of 2 years to 6 years, those who are in the preschool, kindergartens, would be ever taught online. In fact, we were restricting screen time. But there was a time now that we had to opt for an online school. And now we've gone a step ahead, and it is like preschool delivered at your doorstep in a magical box. Today we will be discussing the pros and cons of both. So whether are we doing the right things as educators? Are we actually empowering the parents enough? Are the parents happy with the solutions that we have come up with? So to discuss this, my first opening question to all the speakers is that we have preschool at the doorstep, right? And the delivery nowadays is actually of everything. So everything, India never imagined that we would have a delivery at the doorstep for food, for clothes, for groceries. Even you don't have to go down to buy your vegetables these days. It can be delivered to your doorstep, right? So we have apps, applications for anything and everything. You switch the button, you order things, you pay online. You don't even have to pay cash. So people don't keep cash these days. Everything is digital. So these kind of deliveries are fine. So due to the pandemic, when you see that 2 to 4 years old, there was a children like who were out to go to school in 2020. Until now, they've never been to school. So they do not have any idea what a school is all about. So for these children, do you think this doorstep delivery of preschool makes sense? Do you think it's like good to get a box, which is like a magical box delivered from Amazon or from the school and saying that here's your preschool, kids enjoy? So what are your thoughts on this, please? I would first go with Dr. Monica.
Sure. Thank you so much, Smritiji. I think the question that you've posed is very valid, and especially that it comes today on Children's Day. I'd like to begin with wishing everybody a very happy Children's Day. Further, I want to congratulate all the educators, whether it was for 2 years old or any other age group. Every educator has done such a wonderful job during this time of pandemic, which you were absolutely right in telling us that nobody has anticipated that situation is going to come to any one of us. However, all educators have done such an exemplary job utilizing this time, upgrading themselves technologically, sharing apps, being so creative to ensure that learning continues for all ages, for all our students. And the preschoolers, I am not sure if I should say have been fortunate enough, because this is not a great thing that they've been confined inside their homes for past 1.5 years, but they've been fortunate enough to continue with the learning through the efforts of our gurus. All the mentors, all the facilitators, all the educators have done an incredible job to deliver whatever best within the capacities through the screen, the medium of that screen, the digital learning. It's not okay that those kids have not followed the true real life situation of following a structured routine, waking up in the morning, going to the school, dressing up, and then listening to their teacher and being in a real situation with their friends. So that interaction has definitely been missing. However, the good part is digitalization during this pandemic time has come as a boon for all of us. The upgradation that teachers have done has taken such leaps and bounds. I mean, none of us thought, whether it was India or overseas, that we will be doing such comfort level teaching with Zoom or Teams or whatever the learning platform might be. But we have been able to do that for our kids, and they have done a great job learning. Whatever teachers have delivered, students have done a good job. I wouldn't say exemplary because we could not really see them. So our assessments might not be very accurate if kids don't turn their cameras on or respond. Because I know I've seen kids, I've visited classes, I've been doing some observations. Student is attending, we can see attendee. However, their camera is off and they're either sleeping or eating food while the teacher is trying to teach. So this situation has both pros and cons. Definitely, Educators have done an exemplary job. Students who were actually serious have done a good job learning their content. But the real situation is that we need to make sure we get back to the normal as quickly as possible. Right? Thank you.
Absolutely, very well said. Yeah, of course, nothing like the physical school, and of course, we cannot compare both, but at least we had a solution and the learning never stopped. Right. Same question now to Ms. Anshul Vasandani. What are your thoughts on this? So, school delivered at a doorstep, do you think what do you think about it?
Can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Yeah, I said I would just like to reiterate what Dr. Monica said. These pandemic times have actually made it very, very necessary for us to take teaching beyond the classroom. So here we've seen children attending schools on these online platforms or preschool being delivered at the doorstep or preschool in a box. And I think these 1.5 years, we've seen a major paradigm shift in this education industry, which, as Dr. Monica said, which was never thought of before. And this has obviously given rise to e-learning, which was never there in early years. And I think I have seen even with my granddaughter that since she never attended a school before, I've seen a major change even in her learning. Earlier, she would never sit in front of the screen, and off late, now she's settled down. So I think teachers are doing a real fabulous job ensuring that they have all kinds of activities to engage these young learners who have never attended formal schooling. So I think.
Yeah, that's true. Commendable job done by the teachers, for sure, because they were the one who took up the challenge heads on. And even though they were not trained or so technically, hands on with online education, they learned and learned very fast, in fact, and kept the interest of the children alive, even on an online session, which we thought it was impossible for a child to sit in front of the screen. Yeah, right. And actually learn. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, Ms. Anshul. We go to Ms. Geeta. Ms. Geeta, what are your thoughts on this?
I agree to my counterparts. What they said is absolutely right. And once, happy Children's Day to all before I start. But I feel somehow this preschool delivered at the doorstep also was a diverse and enriching experience, in the form of which I have seen is like it provided access to a greater depth and breadth of resources and information to even the kids. Because as I saw practically I designed things since I'm a curriculum developer. Quickly the schools approached me to change from offline to online, and the activities which I designed for them really gave me great results, and I thank for that to the mothers and fathers also a great deal. It has been a great effort on the part of the parents also. They took the trouble to sit with the kids, and one of the activities, one parent told me during this that we do not have any material. I said, what do you have in your house? They said, we have a box, cartons and all that. I don't have any paper. I said, okay, great. And he said, we have the paintbrush. I said, give the paintbrush to the child, put haldi in the water, put beetroot in the water, and tell the children to paint. And it was amazing, I tell you. This is a practical experience which I have had and which we have done. So it really provided, that's how I said that it provided an fantastic opportunity. Even we tried to do and provide social skills to children by organizing play dates during school time also, so that the children get introduced who have never come to school before. So that's what the amazing thing which happened. I don't want to repeat what both my contemporaries have said. So on a qualitative level, in fact, I felt that it was a great boon which gave us relevant outcomes from the children, and visual content helped the children to learn the information better. And it is a myth that screen time is bad for kids. Screen time is not bad. The content what they are watching is bad. We need to have a check on the content. So that's more important. So what I spoke is of all practical things, that what we did and how we managed to change everything to practical thing. In fact, I feel more than offline and online courses, children learn more of STEM, more of science projects, more of, because we used to love doing the things when we used to do on the screen for them. And it was a wonderful experience for the parents, for the children. In fact, the bond between the parents and the kids increased more, because everything was done by the parents with them, and they loved it. There was no time to get up, and they really had great fun doing even evening classes, afternoon classes, morning classes, as per their convenience. And but the love, the warmth, the sense, the learning which happens through senses, of course, was missing. And we look forward to the offline school so to fulfill all that. Thank you.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much, Ms. Geeta, for sharing your thoughts. And absolutely, we all agree that, you know, there's nothing like the physical school where the child is actually experiencing and getting hands-on learning. So now we dive deeper into the subject and we get to know in-depth thoughts about each speaker on what do they think about this topic as an individual and in an individual situation. So the first thing that I have is for Ms. Anjal, and that is when school went online, like we all agreed that it was a necessity and it was absolutely, we had to do this and we were not left with any choice because of the unprecedented situations that we were in. So do you think schools online on a learning management system with the teacher or full-time schools or the schools in the boxes, which one do you prefer, or as an educator and as a content head, that you know that is which one is better? So should you think that the schools should be delivering their the school in a box, or do you think that they should be carrying on with online education? Are we actually diminishing the value of the school by just giving them a box and say parents can also be the teachers?
So, Smriti, being an educator, I don't want to take a stand on either. So I will just present my thoughts. I will present both the differentiators between both the types of learning and the challenges which are related to both. And I think parents can make the informed choices post that. So I will just like to, I would like to share my screen. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, please go ahead, Ms. Anchal. And my reminder to all the speakers to please be on time because we have young voices waiting right after this. And you please stay on to hear how they would create a sustainable world.
So the question to me was schools online on LMS with teacher full-time or schools in boxes for parents to become teachers? Are we diminishing the value of schools?
Yeah.
So as we all just discussed, we are now in the age of the fourth industrial revolution, that is technology. And technology has really transformed during this pandemic, the education industry. And we've seen this paradigm shift in this industry. So definitely we've seen schools rise up to the occasion, getting onto e-learning platforms, video conferencing platforms. And by the teachers' efforts, teachers actually have taken great, in spite of all the challenges, they've come out of it, teaching within their houses, teaching, going beyond their private spaces and teaching the children. I think hats off to them. But this has become a necessity, whether it's school in a box or online learning. I think both are today, in today's days, they're a necessity. Now, what is this preschool in a box? I think we all know. So I will just quickly go through it. It is a box filled with learning activities. This box may be of different types. There would be certain boxes which are skill-based box. These boxes focus on development of a certain domain. It could be like a phonics box. It could be a pre-math skill box, so on. Or there could be boxes related to themes, like maybe a plant life. Again, here, all the activities will be integrated with the theme. These boxes also contain a facilitator's manual for the parents to implement these activities, maybe a development tracker for the parents to track the progress of the children. So they have an amalgamation of all hands-on activities. Some of them also provide CDs or links to audiovisual resources. These could be done independently, or they could be supplementing an online existing preschool content. Now, these are some of the differentiators between both the types of learning. When we come to online schooling, we know nothing matches face-to-face interaction. However, due to this pandemic, we have to move on to online schooling, because at least there is scope for a teacher-child or child-to-child interaction. Therefore, keeping in mind their social development, social emotional development. It also nurtures their thinking, emotional, social skills. In online teaching, the teachers also use different kinds of modalities. They would have a teacher-child led activities or a child-led activities. This kind of learning can happen at any place. We've seen children entering the online classes from their homes, from their grandparents' homes, while they're on vacations. So this can happen at any time, any place. However, we've seen there is a scheduled time given to parents, so obviously it cannot happen anytime. Coming to a preschool in a box, this is a totally parent-led format, and it does not allow collaboration or interactions with peers. So definitely there is limited social development that happens. This can happen anytime, any place, because the materials are available with the children and parents at all times. It provides a standardized format. So there is nothing that the teacher can have different kinds of interactions with the child, because it follows a standardized format. You have to follow the instructions given in the manual. Moving on to the next difference, flexibility in learning. We know preschool teachers are an invaluable resource. Getting these young learners sitting in front of the screen for even 10 minutes requires great effort. So we have to give credit to our preschool teachers who have ensured that the children are developmentally on the track during this pandemic using the online teaching mode. They've used innovative, adaptive teaching strategies, obviously, which are developmentally appropriate and child-centric. They continuously monitor the child's progress in spite of being online. So these are the few things which online school has helped in child's development. The content is customized according to the pace of the learners. If the teacher feels today the children are not engaged, not attentive, she adapts her content, and her role keeps changing based on the needs of the class. She also emphasizes on building connections with the children so that the children do not feel left out. So there would be different types of connections that the schools are doing. They have a one-on-one calls with the child, maybe once a week, twice a week. They have these interactions where they involve small groups in different activities versus a large group. So different ways in which they're keeping the children engaged and connected. Whereas preschool in a box, it is totally activity based. Here, the parents can go according to the pace of the child, definitely. However, there are limited opportunities for monitoring the progress. And here, if the developmental tracker is given, that those assessments are very standardized. Here, one thing good is there is a reduced screen time, okay, in preschool in a box, and the parents can decide what to show and what not to show the child. The content, however, is standardized, that is one size fits all. Here, interactions are limited. It's only between the parent and the child. Now we move on to seeing some of the challenges of both types of learning. In online learning, the children need to be settled in front of the screen. There are limited resources available to the parents. We saw that struggle happening in the first few months when everything was shut, total lockdown. However, when things started opening, the parents could source out some more resources. A lot of passive learning happened, though of course teachers have now innovated and come up with better strategies. Constant adult supervision. I think this is the grievance of many of the parents, that they need to be sitting, either parents or grandparents we've seen have to sit with these young learners throughout their online learning. Increased screen time. Again, this is one of the grievances of parents, that our children are having too much of screen time. But I think, as Ms. Geeta Punjabi said, it is not the screen time, it is the kind of content that is displayed, that needs to be monitored. So if we have limited and appropriate context, so I think screen time can be curbed. Coming to preschool in a box, the challenges, unscheduled time, children do not have a schedule. So that is one of the challenges. Sourcing materials for activities, some of the materials suggested would be either not cost effective, or it could be something that they cannot source easily. High parental involvement again, significantly high selling price of the box. Again, here you have to remember that parents are not ECCA trained, so they might have challenges in implementing the program. So these were some of the key differentiators of both the styles of learning. And as I said, we should allow parents to make their informed choice for the way forward. We can now just look at some of the guidelines in order to minimize these challenges. So these guidelines for online schooling are: the activities must be engaging, developmentally appropriate. They must involve minimum parent supervision. These activities must be time bound, not having, we've seen some of the preschools having school for 2 hours. So we need to have a time bound session for the children with a lot of transitions in between, so that they do not lose interest and they engage effectively. The outcome should be clearly defined and communicated to the parents. The parents need to know what are the outcomes of the sessions, because they're sitting with the children at all times. Observations must be documented. The teachers must, because they're online, they need to document everything, how the child behaves, what are the responses of the children, so that she can assess the child and check his developmental milestones. Innovative teaching strategies for high student engagement. Use a blended learning approach. As I said, different strategies to keep them, a teacher, a small group, then a large group, one-to-one, such kind of different kind of strategies must be adopted. And emphasis on learning through playing, very, very important for these young learners. We must, as educators, utilize this window of opportunity. We all know, as per neuroscience has proved, that the early years are the main years of brain development. So these are windows of opportunity which we do not want to lose out. So this is when maximum of child development happens. So we need to give them such kind of stimulation and experiences which will help them in their holistic development. Now moving on to some of the guidelines for a preschool in a box. Here, the target audience or the age group should be mentioned on the box, because we cannot have one that fits all. The outcome should be clearly mentioned, whether it's a supplement to the preschool curriculum or whether it can be used as it is, as primary curriculum. All the materials provided should be easily sourced and not expensive. These activities should be such that can be used multiple times, the resources. And they should be age appropriate and graded, that is simple to complex. They should be repeated again and again for the child to gain confidence and develop the skills. The activities should cater to all domains of child development, and a specific, precise document giving crisp instructions on how to use the box and how to scaffold the child's learning. Now coming to my last slide. Childhood is not a race to see how quickly a child can read, write, or count. Childhood is a small window of time to learn and develop at the pace which is right for each individual child. We all know that happiness in these crucial times is the most important emotion to keep children safe and healthy. These children are the future. We need to nurture them right so that they grow up as responsible citizens and lead the world towards light. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ms. Anchal. That was really an eye-opener. In fact, there was so much of learning, and there was been so much of takeaway from this, both for the educators and for the parents, that only completely understand what is an online education and what online classes can be done, and how preschool in a box can be implemented much more effectively. So now I'll have to go to my next speaker. And like what Ms. Anchal just spoke about, the online learning being effective and the teacher having the interactions and everything going in place, I would like to ask Dr. Monica that you are giving consultation to a lot of schools, and during these 2 years, 2020 till now, also they must be feeling this. So what do you think that social emotional learning context, if we talk about specifically for early childhood years, that is the kindergarten years, the social and emotional learning is happening right now. They're developing these skills, right? They are their developmental domains. At that time, do you think this should be this machine based versus human based? So AI is of course taking over. And like Ms. Anjal just correctly said, that it is like a technology revolution right now. The time is for that. So do you think that SEL can be developed through machines, or do you prefer the human interaction? Your thoughts, please.
Yeah, I would certainly prefer the human interaction. That goes without saying. However, the AI, artificial intelligence, or the digitalization during this pandemic time has been our second best option. We could not have done it without technology during this particular time. This certainly was a limitation phase, a phase which is not the real world situation. So, in this phase where we had to come up with a makeshift arrangement, I believe technology has served and the pandemic has served as a catalyst during this time. We've all upgraded ourselves so much. But coming to our social emotional learning, I think human emotions are best expressed when we are in the presence, in the company of our peers. Students really develop their emotions. They learn how to express their feelings when they are with their friends in a class. There's got to be a teacher with them, a guru, a facilitator at all times is the one who can actually nurture your social development, your emotional development, your physical development, your mental development. So it's like a complete holistic development happens absolutely best in the presence of each other. We can try doing it through across a screen. I think it'll be great if we can all actually physically see and meet each other. And that's exactly what these little kids want and deserve. That's the real life situation. They have to be able to meet up with friends. Just listening to the teacher across the screen and doing, I know teachers have been very creative. Our tools in the magic box would definitely help them explore a lot of things. Their kinesthetic senses would be developing. But we really want them to actually come out, not just sit in one spot. There's a lot of research that has been going on, and research suggests that kids of this particular age, especially the ones who've gone through the pandemic, can actually, it's very sad and unfortunate that this is the research that's being shared, from cradle to grave. They can be seated in one spot and they can spend their entire time. They get to eat over there, they get to play games over there, they get to study, they get to learn, they get to interact. They're doing everything on that flat screen, and the world, instead of the real shape of the world, has actually become a flat device for them, which is really painful. We want our students, we want these little kids to get up and move. The moment they move, their brain and body are both going to be activated. We've all heard of healthy body in a healthy mind in a healthy body. And that actually happens when they leave their spot where they've been sitting for such a long time. They begin to make their body and use all their senses. Machines don't have emotions. Human beings have emotions. The only emotion I can say that the machines can share with us it's called emotion, which is energy in a motion. We can direct that energy, right? But we cannot have that energy be channelized correctly without meeting them. And I feel it's so important for them to fight with each other, play with each other, just talk to each other when they are in a real classroom setting. Even if it is in the playground, we have to give them those opportunities to experience, to experiment, to explore, just to grow themselves. So during this phase of pandemic, we came up with our ways of continuing learning for them. But I really wish, hope, and encourage that we can revert back to in person teaching, because that's the real world. Currently, we are teaching these small kids in a virtual world, and that's not the reality. We all know that. We never went to such a school. So, we really wish, hope that our kids who haven't really seen school so far because of this particular situation actually get to experience the real life in reality. That's my hope and wish. And I'm always in favor of human based social emotional learning rather than machine based. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Monica. So that was very correctly said. And I love the new phrase that it's emotion can be broken into emotion for a machine that is like it is energy in motion, and that is all that machine is doing. And the world has become a flat screen for this generation, because from cradle to grave they are can be sitting at one place and the world is on their screen. So whether they're learning or they're enjoying or they're playing, they're interacting with friends, or they or like us people who were remotely working, if you're working also, so yeah, its office is also the screen, the school is also a screen, the game is also a screen, everything is a screen. We need to break out of that. And of course social emotional learning would be affected if we do not have the schools reopening very fast. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts, Dr. Monica. Now we go over to Ms. Geeta, and we continue the discussion basically with Ms. Geeta, and she would be sharing her experience. That we say that, it was for early childhood, every time, even for the primary and the secondary school for that matter, we used to advocate about project-based learning. We say whatever the child learns need to be applied. If there's an application of knowledge, it is the true knowledge and it's the true learning. So from that application of knowledge, now knowledge through application, those are the apps. So now everything is now the knowledge is being gained through those apps. So it's not knowledge and then applying knowledge, but it's gaining knowledge through the applications and the apps now. So how do you think it has affected learning or the students' well-being?
I really loved Dr. Monica's speech. Whatever she said, it was so very true that it just a rectangle screen has become the entire world for 2 to 4 year old children, right? But that's very, very true. The COVID-19 resulted in schools shut all across the world globally. 1.2 billion children were out of the classroom, and then there was the education changed so much dramatically, so that we did not have any option but to resort to distinctive e-learning, whereby teaching was taken through remotely digital platforms like apps. So we did not have any other option. But even I would not support this totally. I totally agree with Dr. Monica Diwan that really, yes, nothing like the touch, nothing like the sense, nothing like the visual, kinesthetic, auditory learning, and the all the senses and the sensual learning which we always did in the classroom and the children learned. But some of the apps then too, because the situation was such unavoidable, we couldn't waste the time of the children. So like apps like Khan Academies, kids apps, and Kahoot app we used quite bit much. Edmodo, Seesaw, Stock, uh, Byju's, they also were very, very greatly helpful. And Singapore introduced Lark. Do you all know about Lark?
I am not sure. So you can please enlighten us.
Yeah, so Singapore introduced that, and I'll just tell you. So there are some paid apps and there were some free apps. Okay, so let's talk about some free apps which the parents could easily access and the children could access. So first is very important free app was Zoolingo. which totally connected to preschool games. Okay, then Leapfrog Academy also has got very good activities for preschoolers. And also these, have you heard about Fish School? 1, 2, 3 ABC for kids. If you just Google Fish School 1, 2, 3 ABC for kids, it provides huge knowledge about linguistics. And Moose Maths, Duck Duck Mouse, Duck Duck Moose, and spelling stage, endless numbers. These were really, really very helpful during the pandemic. And there were many paid apps also. The 8 best educational apps for preschoolers in 2021, which I can rate, is the first being Khan Academy Kids. They really did a wonderful job, and it went beyond the average preschooler app. In fact, even competitions like, it gave competition, this a comprehensive curriculum where the children could take part in competitions. And Busy Shapes was an app aligned with the Montessori method of self-directed hands-on learning, and it really helped the youngest kids. And the youngest kids, it was perfect for them to start to interact with technology because it was not rote learning. That was a very good thing in that. Okay, and the app was designed to impact this children's motor skill development also. So that way it was very good, and it not only encouraged their motor skill development, it used their logic and reasoning skills, and the children learned how to relate objects to each other and how to manipulate. That was something very good. So Busy Shapes is very simple to play. Kids simply drag an object into the hole. They are challenged to match the shape of the object with the corresponding hole. Even Moose Maths, which I just spoke about by Duck Duck Moose, became a part of education technology juggernaut. And this math app was designed to introduce the basic math concepts. And the games were aligned to Common Core standards. Then the best for creative exploration was Toka Nature. Toka Nature is one of the best apps on the market to engage in open-ended creative exploration. So Toka Nature has a very calm aura about it and a soothing background music to accompany with. Then Homer reading also helped children to learn to read. Homer reading app. Then Monster at the End of the Book. That was also an app which was an interactive version of the classic Sesame Street book of the 1970s. And then about routines. Routines went for a toss in the pandemic time. So there had to be something to teach them about the routines. Daniel's Tigers Day and Night app taught them about the routines. Daniel Tigers Day and Night app. Then imaginary play, which is such a beautiful thing of a preschool, and the children learn best. Even we learn so much by visualization. Even children learn by imaginary play. So My Play Home app provided the best imaginary play, open-ended things to children. It was like a virtual dollhouse that encouraged young kids to use their imagination to build a family. So kids could choose up to 15 characters with different outfits and hairstyles, and develop their imaginations. So these were the very 8 important good apps which really, really helped the preschool children during the time of pandemic. So there were many brain building apps also, like Teach Me, Buddies, Alien Buddies, Metamorph, like that. Hungry Caterpillar Play School. There were artistic apps to support their art and craft, like Faces Make, Drawing with Carl, Draw Animal, The Relationships, and Melissa Callaghan. This all artistic apps also helped a lot the children. Then also there were toy apps like Ducky Duck Trash, Peppy Pats, again Talka Nature, which really helped the kids. So I felt that when schools were not possible, they were our greatest buddies, the apps. Of course, nothing like a school where we can teach practically and hands-on learning can be possible. But in their absence, children could gain much if these apps were used correctly by the teachers and by the parents. Thank you so much.
Awesome. This was a learning experience. So we early childhood educators, we always feel that, we really do not know too much of technology. Secondly, in an Indian mentality, we always feel we are too old for technology. And yeah, we are too old. Yeah, we go by the routines, we go by the standardized things that we have been doing, and we're very happy about it. So the moment, we feel that, no, yeah, I'm too old for all of this. Now what, all these apps and all. Here, I would like to congratulate Ms. Geeta, who's a grandmother, a very hep grandmother for that matter, a very smart one too. She has a list of apps which all the parents and the educators can use and use effectively so that their children do not miss out on learning, which is a very, very important thing.
I can share the total list with the use of apps also with you.
That would be so wonderful, Ms. Geeta, if you share that with us for our ECDF members also. So we would be sharing it with all the schools who are registered with us and with all the teachers who are our members, so that, they benefit out of it. So for the parents and for the teachers, it would be really, really beneficial. We really thank you so much for that. It would be wonderful if you can do that for us. Yeah, I'll be in touch with you after the webinar, Ms. Geeta, for this. Yeah, I'll keep reminding you. So to sum it all up, so here we come to the first section, the end of the first section of our webinar today on Children's Day. And oh my God, it was a wonderful webinar with stellar speakers who have taught us so much. There are so many takeaways, right from Ms. Anchal, Dr. Monica, and Ms. Geeta. All the three have given us all different perspectives of preschool being delivered in a box, as it is a necessity, as it is something that we cannot do without right now at the moment. Then there's online learning management system, which Ms. Anchal highlighted so beautifully, that there are so many pros and cons to both the systems. But with online learning, at least the teacher is in front of the child on a screen, and there are other peer group children whom the child sees and interacts, which is better for a social emotional learning. The second thing is a challenge for the parents, because rightly said that they are not ECCA trained, or they had not actually understood how you have developed the curriculum or given out the resources to them. So if they get those resources also are, the correct implementation, along with their own routines, their own engagements, their work, their lifestyle, daily chores, household looking after. If you expect them to take on the role of a teacher through delivering the resources only, then it would not help. Of course, the school plays a major role, and the teacher is, of course, inevitable. So there we have all of these, but it was a time of innovation. It was a time of adaptability. So all the 21st century skills that we want our children to learn, it was a time when we showed that we have gained them. So the schools and educators, teachers, and content developers had to really brainstorm, come up with a solution quick and fast, where the main concern was that children should not lose out on their learning and development stages. Dr. Monica highlighted very effectively the use of machinery and the world being a flat screen right now. There's also has been a research where it is said that children are getting so used to the machine voice that machine can make them do anything. So it's all Alexa, it's all gaming, it's all the computerized talk and the voice that they hear. So right, if you are a parent or a teacher, please be careful that your children are not getting so used to a machine voice, because we say that a child is more attached to a mother only because that's the first voice that they hear. That's the first connection to the real world. Don't make that connection go to a machine. Please be there, and be there for your child as much as possible. Engage with them in these beautiful activities sent to you by the school in the magical box. Be there online with them. Be a part of their education. till we go back to our physical schooling, this is what it is. There's nothing good or there's nothing bad. It's how and what we do with technology matters the most. So we as adults have to be very, very mindful on the content and the applications being used, on the time that we are giving on the to the children on screen. This is all something that we have to look into. Thank you very much for the webinar. I thank all our speakers. And now I hand over to Dr. Vasavi Acharya to take this forward. And if you can see the screen, all our young voices, young brats are right there, eager to go. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Smriti. Thank you, Geeta. Thank you, Dr. Monica, and thank you, Achal. This has been a it's a really enlightening webinar. It's I think given us different views on how we look into it, how we look into preschool in a box, how we look into actual learning, and how actually world is moving into technology, and how what best we can do out of it. So it was really, really wonderful. And now we have the young voices coming up. So before we start, I would just like to stop the recording for a moment and then restart the recording only for the young voice session.